I hope you guys can't hear me smacking my gum. I really hope you're not bothered by it because I'm gonna keep chewing it. I just put it in. I really am. Anyways, hello, beautiful people. So today, stop doing that. You're gonna make the tripod fall, buddy. Thank you. Today, we're gonna be doing a little spirituality journey, little overview. I want this to be like a real chill. It's a chill video. Y'all are in my bedroom. You can see my headboard. Like, it's chill. But yeah. So today, spiritual journey. What I really want to talk about. I hope you guys can't hear me smacking my gum. I really hope you're not bothered by it because I'm gonna keep chewing it. I just put it in. I really am. Anyways, so today I just want to talk about journaling and shadow work and how that's helping me with my spiritual journey and where I'm at with it. So to start, I've been journaling for a good minute. I'd say at least since I was like 13. I haven't always been consistent with it. There's times where I've been like on it, doing it every day for like 3 months and then nothing. But I'm really trying to get back into journaling and doing more shadow work and just getting back into the habit of that, incorporating it into my evening routine. That's where I would like to put it, in my evening routine, because it's more of like a reflective thing. And I want to do reflections at night, and like getting my mindset and everything ready for the day in the morning. So shadow work. What shadow work is, let's just start there. What shadow work is okay, so I went and had to grab an actual definition for you guys. I don't want to just be spouting off stuff that is rambling and then I get to the point, and also the cat's knocked over the camera. But shadow work involves getting in touch with the parts of yourself that you've repressed, or what many might refer to as their dark side. It's called shadow work and involves diving into the unconscious material that shapes our thoughts and emotions and behavior. And what really the gist is most people go and they just type in shadow work prompts, and it's really you just like take journaling questions, and I'll give you guys some examples of some shadow work questions, and you basically like you just dive deep into your subconscious and how your experiences have shaped the way that you behave, like how you think. It's really all very digging into the past and like how your experiences have shaped you, and just getting rid of some like negative coping mechanisms or some behaviors that aren't necessarily enhancing your life. And today I want to talk about how shadow work enhances your inner peace and therefore enhances all parts of your life. So to begin, I did write it down like there's steps, but it's not necessarily steps, more like stepping stones, if that makes sense. So to me, when I do shadow work, the way for me to know that it's working and it's really enhancing my life is when I see myself in a similar situation that I have been in the past, and I react a different way. It doesn't go south, or it doesn't go the way it usually would have, because I've changed my thought process. I've changed the way I behave and the way I move and think. But yes, So I've got my notes here. I did take notes for you guys, just in case you see me looking down. The number one part of shadow work that, actually, let's hold off on that. I want to give you guys some brief examples of shadow work questions and then tell you guys the list and then give off examples of each of the shadow work questions and how they play a part in the stepping stones. So I do have a few shadow work prompts inside my journal, in the back of my journal. That's where I keep some prompts just to keep on hand so I don't have to Google them every time. The ones I'm about to read off are specifically for helping with gaining more insight into your spirituality and shadow work, but they're also just shadow work prompts in general. So I'll just read some of them off, and here we go. And I also answered one for you guys, and I'll read my journal prompt entry. So I'll read that for you guys at the end. Okay, so the first that I have on the list is, how do you define wisdom? Where do you look for wisdom in your life, in your own life? And that's actually the shadow prompt I answered for me. Then I have, when have you felt most connected to your spiritual self? The next one is, what are some mantras or guiding principles you use in your spiritual life? And the next one is, do you believe more in serendipity or coincidence? What are some of your biggest unanswered questions in life? What does spirituality mean to you? What big things are you most grateful for right now? Let's see, what's another good one to read to you guys? Do you believe you find purpose or your purpose finds you? What gives you life meaning today? And what leaves you feeling purposeful? So those were like some sort of like the ambiguous questions. But there are like more questions that just dive into like a history, like, oh, when was the time you were most happiest in life? And how you how you guys just heard me say, when was the time you felt most spiritual? Like, there are some like hard fact questions, and even those can be kind of hard to answer, because we're not always thinking about these moments while we're in them. And I think that's when we remember moments the most, when we know what's happening and we're completely in the moment and we're thinking about what it's bringing us. But yeah, those are some questions. And then there's also different versions of shadow work that I've found. Most people generally just do journaling and research journaling prompts. I personally like to do some shadow work where I ask myself questions. And I feel like this is like diving even deeper into shadow work, because the questions you ask yourself, they tell so much. They tell so much about you. So questions I asked myself, and this is a journal entry dated from August 23rd, 2021. Questions I have for myself. What is home to you? Do you think abstinence of doing something specific for 30 days, 60 days, etc. will improve something in your life? How can you work through your feelings and of being alone versus working through your feelings of loneliness? How can yoga enhance your spirituality? Do my goals make you stationary? What are your goals? And shadow work is also kind of like talking to your inner child and nurturing your inner child in a way that you may not have been nurtured before, or just enhancing that nurturing. So when I ask myself and I say you, and then I'm saying me as well, I'm talking to myself, but I'm also talking to my inner child. The next one I have was, why do you have fears of being stuck? What makes you feel stuck? And then there are plenty more other questions that I've asked myself. Oh, I really like this one. I'm gonna read this one. Though you have intersectional identities, which do you find yourself claiming or resonating with the most, and why? I I'm gonna answer that eventually. I just I feel like diving deep into that is gonna bring out some deep emotions for me. But yeah. So back to our list of things that our list of ways that shadow work enhances your inner peace, which therefore enhances your overall life. The first one I have is bringing inner peace into perspective opens your view to all different perspectives, which in turn, which will be the next step. But let's just explain that for a minute. So inner peace is really, it's about knowing who you are, being sure and firm in who you are, and knowing what you're here to do on this earth. That's what I feel inner peace is for me. Inner peace can mean a lot of different things for a lot of different people. I found, as perspectives have helped me gain, I found a lot of people have different definitions of things when I've just gained perspective in life that's not necessarily about how I perceive life and the way that I've been taught to perceive life. So perception is a really big thing for me in my spirituality and my personal growth. My friends and I talk about it a lot when we're talking about personal growth. And to me, perspective just means that just because you've experienced life one way and you've experienced it your way, your life has gone the way it has, that isn't necessarily the truth or the reality of life sometimes. Sometimes, especially when we haven't learned how to cope and work through our emotions, they cloud our perspective of reality. Sometimes we see ourselves as a villain when we're not, or a victim when we're not. It just really has to do with how people just have rose-colored lenses. I'll say that, rose-colored lenses over the way they see life, and it's not necessarily the reality of what happened. Have you ever heard someone tell a story and they're sitting there saying, well, it was feeling like this, and it's feeling like I'm just down and like everything's horrible for me, when in reality you're listening to the story and you're like, well, my good sis, listen, it sounds like you kind of put yourself in that situation. I've done that before. You've kind of you put yourself in that situation, honey. And it's not to blame for your unhappiness, but you gotta fix it if you don't want it to happen again. You can't keep putting yourself in situations over and over and victimizing yourself, and then you're confused on why nothing's ever changing because you're staying stuck in the same cycle. Like things like that. Or have you ever heard someone tell a story they had maybe an argument with a friend or family or spouse, and they're like, I mean, maybe I'm just wrong about this, and I don't know, like I just don't know. I don't know. And what I've seen and what I've observed in life is that maybe that person isn't completely sure in their perspective of life. Maybe someone in their past has gaslit them to believe that their reality isn't true, or they're just not sure in who they are. It could be a multitude of things. But the point is, perspective is really, really, really important when it comes to personal growth and spirituality, because it takes you outside of yourself and outside of your own personal experiences, and it really broadens your horizons. It answers a lot of questions for you. And then the next one is it's the next stepping stone. So because we've mastered that first part, we can now get to the next part. And part 2 is it brings you understanding of others and yourself on a deeper level. And like I was saying, it takes you outside of yourself and gives you broader horizons, which helps you understand others and how everything is really cause and effect, and the way people behave is how they've been taught to behave, or they've been treated away, and that's why they behave that way. It's all cause and effect. And understanding others is, I feel, it's not quintessential. It's not completely, what am I trying to say? It's not completely necessary for you to have mastered understanding others to understand yourself, but it helps you to understand yourself once you understand others, because like I said, we often have these rose-colored lenses over our life and our perspectives, and like reality is deeper than that. Reality and understanding what has actually happened, understanding what has actually happened to us is hard sometimes. We don't like to face the reality of things. Like, yes, that did happen. Or no, that did not happen the way you thought it happened. But I feel understanding others and the cause and effects of behaviors helps you understand yourself, because now you can look at the behaviors you exhibit and you can say, no, why do I behave like that? Why did I do that? And you can find your answer, because you know you and you know your experiences. When you say, okay, usually when someone asks me a question, I get defensive. And I'm like, I don't want to answer questions. I don't like that. And you're like, well, then why am I behaving that way? And you'll find the answer is probably you were either taught that people don't need to be asking you questions, or you're always being hounded about something, or you'll find the answer. Basically, that's what I'm trying to say. You'll find the answer in your past. It's all cause and effect behavior. Okay, next. Once you've mastered understanding others and understanding yourself on a deeper level, it makes you more firm in your boundaries, your character, your goals, and your wants. Okay, what I mean by that, especially boundaries. Once you understand the cause and effect of behaviors and what things people do to other people, like what is caused by that, then you'll also understand that letting certain people and certain things, certain places into your life, they have an effect on you. And that effect can either be positive, negative, or neutral, really. And once you evaluate what they're doing and what those things are doing to your life, how they're affecting your life, it makes it easier to understand that your boundaries are necessary, that you have to put boundaries in place in order to have inner peace and protect yourself. And it's not necessarily saying to be a hermit crab and shut yourself in and never let anyone or anything into your life, let them in. It's really just to say that if you understand when people, for example, if people are saying rude things about you, and usually that makes you really upset, and it does something to your self-worth, and you start feeling bad about yourself for the next week or two, then you know the cause is those people saying those things, and the effect is you being down and bad, like you feeling bad about yourself for the next 2 weeks. And now that you understand that, the boundary to put in place is, I need to say something to the people who are saying mean things to me. They do not need to be saying those mean things to me, or they will not be involved in my life, because I can't have that. That's not something I can cope with. And that's where the boundaries come in. And being more firm in your character, I feel like being more firm in your boundaries really helps you be more firm in your character, and vice versa. They really play off of each other. Once you know what you need and what you can have in your life, what can exist and what can't exist without your inner peace being sacrificed, you know that's a part of who you are. You know that in order for me to be completely happy and peaceful and content with who I am, my boundaries need to be firm. Basically. So, all right. And then the goals and the wants. Once you're firm in who you are, it tells you what you want. Like I was saying, being firm in who you are can tell you what you can and can't take in your life. It also tells you what you want and what you need in your life. It tells you, oh, maybe my love language, I thought it was this, but it's not because someone's giving me that and I don't feel love. Let me ask for something else because this isn't feeling right. You know that the cause of what they're doing isn't actually making you feel love. Cause and effect. And that is part of your boundaries and who you are. And now it's part of your wants. It's saying this cause and this effect is not what I want. So now I need to figure out what I do want. And because you have boundaries and you know who you are, you can truly figure out what you want and what your needs are. All right, and then the next step is, first of all, I continued these like it was one really big long run-on sentence. So I'm gonna read the last part again so the sentence makes sense. The last part was, which makes you firm in your boundaries, character, goals, and wants. The next part is leaving no room for people, places, or things that do not aid and abet in those goals, wants, your character, and your boundaries. But it's really, this stuff is really, like, we've been touching on it basically the whole time, and it's just been building up to it. And what really happens is once you have firm boundaries, you're firm in your character, you know who you are, you know what you need and what you want, you don't take anything else. Nothing else matters. You don't take any of it because it doesn't help you bring inner peace into your life. It doesn't help you be content and happy. It's like, that's just it. And that's part of your boundaries. It's part of having firm boundaries, leaving no room for things that don't aid and abet your goals and you. But yeah. And then the very last step, the very last stepping stone is now you have room for peace only inner peace. That's the only thing you have room for in your life, because you set firm boundaries. You know who you are, you know your goals, and you know what you want and need. That's your inner peace. That's everything. That's all you need. All right. So I'll give an example of how this whole process has been happening in my life. So the first part, perspective. Perspective opens the views to all different perspectives. And I'm going to talk about my life and finances, how I was thinking about finances. So my perspective on finances before, and this was just 1 year ago. This was not when I was like 13. It was just 1 year ago. My perspective on finances had a lot to do with the social constructs and how capitalism is viewed in the United States specifically. That's where I live. So my mindset before was not going to bring me inner peace. And I'll get to why. But my mindset about finances before was not going to bring me inner peace. I was not in a place for it to actually work out. It wasn't going to. It didn't. And now I'm in the same exact situation, but it's working. It's actually working because my mindset is different, because I have inner peace about my finances, because I'm working towards inner peace about my finances. So a year ago, I was looking for a job. I was like, I need a job. I need a job. I need a job. Like, I have to have a job. And I was really looking into things jobs, A, that weren't for me, B, sometimes I wasn't even qualified for them based on the qualifications that the employers would list, and C, I was looking for get money fast, quick schemes. Like, that was the only thing I was looking for. And my mindset was not in a place to be doing get quick money fast schemes. Like, I kept applying for jobs that were all sales and commission based, when I know that I need a more solid, a more predictable income. Like, I can't just be thrown out to the wolves and be saying, hey, I need you to buy this or I won't get paid this month. That wasn't gonna work for me. And my mindset wasn't understanding that, because I had no perspective about what those jobs actually meant and what they were gonna take from me and what they needed from me to succeed. So not fast forward yet. I also, during that time, had applied for LiveOps, which is it's like a third-party employment system for really large companies who need customer service, basically. So 1 year ago, literally 1 year ago, less than a month ago this time. So around November of 2020, I applied for this place, and by December, I had found a client to work for. That was not working out, and you want to know why? Because my mindset wasn't actually ready to be working. I wasn't actually ready to work. And my mindset was also had a lot to do with my ADHD just being diagnosed. I hadn't actually ever had a coping plan for my ADHD, so it was just running haywire about my life. I was just finding not a skills plan. What is it called? I'm gonna say a healthcare prerogative, because I can't think of what it's actually called. I had just found a healthcare prerogative for my depression and anxiety, and like, I was still working out the kinks with that. There was no way I was gonna finish training. And you wanna know why? Because I got to the first day and I couldn't do it. I didn't do it, I couldn't. But fast forward fast forward to a year later, and I am currently working for LiveOps with a different client, and it's working because my mindset is different. My perspective on finances is different. And it all just has to do with me. I had to come to terms with some different things about finances, make a whole little circle about it. But it worked out the way it did for a reason, and that reason was because I wasn't ready. All right. So the next thing I want to talk about is just how I enhance my spirituality and inner peace in life. And it isn't just journaling. It's not just shadow work. It's a lot more than that. I use yoga, I use manifestation, I use podcasts, I use my food, my nutrition, I use tea and herbs. And recently I've been getting into spirituality with my hair. I've been thinking about locking it in micro locks, and everything I've been researching about locks and spirituality, and every time I've seen anyone talk about it, they're like, if you're thinking about it, just do it, because you're gonna regret that you didn't do it sooner. And I have a feeling I'm gonna do that. I really do. But I also am still sort of hesitant because I just love my free natural hair. I just love the way it looks and the way that it is so me. Like, I just love it. But I also can sense that the locks will be me too, because it will be me. I'm also thinking I should do some shadow work on it. There we go. I'm thinking I should do some shadow work on it because I want to know what mindset I need to be in for me to be ready for those locks. yeah, I just have a feeling I'm not ready for it yet. And I don't know why, but I'm going to do some shadow work on it and figure it out. So the last thing we're going to do today, before I close off the video, is I'll go ahead and read you guys the journal entry that I made. And I do multiple different types of journal entry, but I'll just talk about two for now. The first is when I'm doing shadow work and I just ask myself a question, a prompt, and then I write. And then the other is when something's sitting on my heart or my mind or my spirit and I just need to write about it. But those are the two main ones that enhance my spiritual journey and my spiritual growth. So the question I asked myself, and I actually wrote this morning, the question I asked myself was, how do you define wisdom? Where do you look for wisdom in your own life? And here's my entry. Wisdom is something everyone has and gets more profound and deeper as you experience life. Even though everyone has it, they may not know how to access it. I look for wisdom in nature, observation, and my experiences. I also think wisdom is all-encompassing and objective. By objective, I mean one person's perception of the world may be a part of their wisdom, but it is not the central point of their wisdom. Wisdom is whole when realized and a personal perspective of experiences when not realized. Wisdom is everywhere and unavoidable. Even if I have not realized some of my wisdom, someone else will. Wisdom is learning from others' wisdom. So that was my journal entry. Usually I just write until my brain says there's nothing left for me to say. And sometimes that makes my journal entries really short. But usually if I'm journaling because something's sitting on my heart, it's a pretty long entry. My entries for questions so far have been kind of short. Like I don't ever really do long entries for prompts, but I also haven't really been picking prompts to write about that would require long entries yet. Like I haven't really gotten deep into it as much as I would like, but this is what I know so far. And I just wanted to share it. Get down in the comments below. Let me know what you know about shadow work and journaling, or just your spirituality, your personal growth. Just get down in the comments and let's have a conversation. Let's talk about it. But that is all for today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Like, comment, subscribe, and turn on that bell notification. Make sure you're getting notifications when we upload, which is every Sunday, Wednesday, and Friday. And our upcoming Vlog-A-Days special starts midnight December 1st. And I'm gonna be uploading every single day during Vlog-A-Days. It'll be December 1st through January 1st, because I'm not just celebrating Christmas, I'm celebrating multiple holidays throughout December, and I will be doing New Year's. But yes, that's all. I hope you all have a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful day. And thank you. Thank you for watching. Good morning, beautiful people. Wow, morning.